What's happening, everybody? Here we go. We about to head into this Dragon Age. Gotta sign in and shit. So, this is the night of the Manny Pacquiao fight. So I'm going to be doing a little recording before that fight comes on. Hope you guys are enjoying your day, whatever you're doing. You sexy bitches, you. So today, as a tip, I received a $2 bill. Shit was awesome. Oh, by the way, my tip, I work in a porn store. So, I make tips in there. How awesome is that? And not tips like you're thinking, you dirty bitch. But yeah, it's pretty cool working in there. You know, it's relaxing. It's a very easy job. You go in, you do what you need to do, and then you go home. Basically, all I do is sell movies, toys, clothes, shoes. So I decided, shit, I've been working there for long enough. We don't have enough money that we bring in. Why not make some money off tips? And before you guys get started, yes, I work with all types of toys you're thinking of. And there are some strange fellows. Now that I'm on my own channel, I could talk about it. I get some weirdos every once in a while. Hasn't been any weirdos since I first started. Had one guy, I'm sure he was on cocaine when he came in. Just trying to find where we're going. Because you guys know how that goes. So basically, people come in, it's just like Walmart. So if people are tweaking, you could tell. So I had this guy come in. It's like my first month or month and a half by myself working at the job, because you work by yourself. So this guy comes in the door and he's like, hey, I'm looking for like a wig and boots and all this stuff. Basically, he was looking stuff up for cross-dressing. So I point him to where the wigs are, you know, and he gets uncomfortably close because I went around the counter to help him on the sales floor. But he got uncomfortably close for a minute. So I was like, okay, the wigs are over here. He looks at it. And he's like, okay, can you put that in a bag? You know, and if you guys can picture John Woo.
Good day to you.
You remember the John Woo movies with a ponytail?
That smithing is hot work.
So, picture that type of guy. Little less Asian, white guy, coming in the door, right? So, I'm like, okay, I'll put this in the bag for you, buddy. And, he's like, cool, cool. So I said, is there anything else that's really, you know, that you need help with or anything like that? He said, yeah, what about shoes?
Only where you would bid me.
So I point him out to the shoes, and he goes, around the counter. Now he goes around my counter, and I'm like freaked out because I just started, and I'm like, don't nobody come around this counter. I said, are you okay, sir? He said, yeah, are you okay? I said, yeah. I just need you to back up from this counter. So he says, okay, cool. So then as he's backing up from the counter here, he starts acting normal. He starts talking regular. He stops being so, you know, whatever. He's like, I'm just like, you know, really nervous guy. I don't like everybody to know. what I do or what I'm into.
Stay safe.
Because he's a kinky bastard, and that's what, you know, he wants to do. Quote, unquote, his words. So I said, that's fine, but I just need you to keep your base, you know, keep your distance away. So he's like, do you have any magazines? So he's like, I'm looking for ones that show off legs. So I said, okay. I point him to the magazines, helped him out and everything, right? So, after all said and done, he ends up spending like $100-something bucks, which was super cool. But here's the kicker: $11 tip.
So,
I was like,
huh?
balling.
Oh no, it's fine, yeah? It's just, I thought it'd be bigger. That would have been hilarious if you were a man, right? Wasted. Anyway, stopping wars should earn more sovereigns than this. Need things back to normal for coins to be flowing again. Another reason the Templars and mages need to be sat down.
It's not just a war between those two.
Well, sure, the sky has a hole in it, but I can't put an arrow in that. Well, I have. Doesn't come down. That's weird. And that's the point, right? It's weird and right there, but they still want to punch each other. They're too busy to look up where the real questions are.
That's why we're here. To help guide everyone back from the brink.
The religious ones tell you that. That's important, right? But don't make it all about that. Seems like believing too hard is what got everyone here. And here is stupid. And smells of horse. Really? What everyone needs is to get everything back to normal and proper and profitable. Sound good to you, all-touched Lady Herald?
I'm ready to give it a shot. That's all I can ask from anyone else.
I'm in. It's an investment, yeah? Better pay off, too. Stupid war and everything. I had things to do.
So that guy comes in later, guys, right? So I didn't want to just, you know, jump in front of her.
Turning the cops, Flisser.
But the guy comes in later, right? This is later on, you know, whenever he's doing whatever.
Chasing the Lord.
And,
anyone who thinks they need Lord in front of the name, that's bad. Bet he's got a portrait taller than he is. That's your first clue to a total arse. Fact.
I don't know why they always say she doesn't fit the Inquisition. I don't get why that.
You apparently have a lot of friends.
Anyway, I'm gonna skip over it because she's so whippity woppity crazy, whatever. So he comes in about a year later, and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" Cut his hair and everything. He's like, "I'm doing good. I'm doing good." I said, "Are you better than you were last time? I mean, you were kind of tweaking last time." He's like, "Oh yeah, dude, I was high on coke. You know, can you help me out?" So I helped him out that time. He ends up, as I'm helping him out, he's like, "Hey, do you have a bathroom?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, by the way, are you into coke?"
Pish, pish, pish. A lot of people eventually.
I said, no. Is that what you're getting ready to do in the bathroom? Because I can't let you in. He goes, "No. I was just saying because I was going to give you a free bump. You know, I was going to give you a free thing of cocaine if you were in it." I was like, "Oh.
I'm glad I met you before.
No, I'm not into that. I'm not doing that. Not doing that at all." So I ended up helping him out again, and he ended up leaving another $11 tip.
No fun that lot.
So I feel freaking happy to help out crazy customers. So those weirdos that I get, I'm still okay with it, as long as they're nice or they don't get really crazy or really weird.
Dunno.
Don't you care?
Not if it works. I mean, red is scary because blood. And Jenny is... Look, nobody fears the bunch of people who do random stuff. And besides, it's easy. Nobles want a bogeyman because they need to believe normal people can't get at them. Numbers, right? It don't have to be so complicated.
It seems like it should be more complicated than that.
That's why you be bad at it and why I'm here. You don't want to play, don't play. That's simple too.
Where are the people you promised?
If I knew, they wouldn't be much use. That's sort of the point. Look, unless your baddies are rocks or trees, they have people they use. Cooks, squires, wipers. Yeah, I know, wipers, right? You better believe the one with wipers deserve it, right in the... Well, anyway, the little people will be there when you need them, in a million little ways.
So lots of little contributions add up in the background, like snowflakes that snap a branch.
What? Sure. Like snow, I guess. Anyway, it just works, most of the time. Friend of a friend and little hints. Mind you, you still have to be smart. Don't bet your life unless you're into that. To be clear, I'm not into that.
I can play along if it works for you.
You have a choice. Hail the Inquisition.
A lot of times I'm so confused in what the fuck Sarah says, but I'm starting to get it. She kind of just like rambles, but you gotta hear the certain points.
That's a Templar's job. A big, armored, pissed off helmet.
All she does is just ramble, 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 so you gotta hear, but she gets to the point, kind of.
Tell me about yourself.
What about me?
You're skilled. Who taught you how to use a bow?
No one.
That seems unlikely.
What? I picked it up here and there. Mostly it just makes sense. It's not like that for you.
Oh, certainly. Not a day's effort for the naturally gifted like us.
Well, it's not like that. It takes work. A bit. Not like Cullen and his pets. I mean, you miss, then you don't. Is it that hard to see when it's wrong?
Well, it's not like that for other elves, I know that.
Most I know couldn't find an arrow sitting on it. Right. Maybe I just make it look easy in shite company. Fact still is, no teacher. Where would I find one in alleyways, anyway?
How about the basics? Where are you from?
Ferelden?
I got that from the accent. Where in Ferelden?
All over? Okay, fine. Denerim for a bit. South, north, wherever I want.
I expect more direct answers than that.
Which of this lot gave you straight answers? Not as many as you bloody well think, I guarantee. Look, I'm not from anywhere. No home, no castle, a few friends. It's complicated. I don't like complicated. Let's leave it at that. Maybe.
I'm just interested in talking to an elf like me.
Don't think so.
Why not?
Well, maybe you're alright, but most elves are too... elfy. Like that soulless, right? Never be as good as we were. Well, who's we? I'm just fine.
I think there's more to it than that. A few thousand years more.
Hey, someone wants to be angry about old debts, be angry. Be a terror that never lets an enemy forget. But if you're digging it up so you can wear it, that's just weird. I mean, you Dalish don't really know. You have stories, but that's all they are. It's all fancy dress, not history.
We'll talk later.
If you say so.
I gotta talk to her for some reason, and she will,
Is the Inquisition what you thought it would be?
Calling an Inquisition is a bit much, isn't it?
She actually opens those locks downstairs. I don't know if I have to go down
At
there.
least I'm used to that. Which, the ones who do things are the ones who give orders? Liliana's... No. And Cullen. I suppose if you want a jackboot...
Well,
good.
I'm gonna go down there first. I guess you gotta go down there.
I'm listening. I'll be here.
Thanks for checking, anyway. Make her watch over you.
Okay, so that's from the mage's thing. Yeah, we gotta go in there because Vivian's in.
Over the
Oh, let me see if I can upgrade any potions. Alright, time to carry my black ass into a cutscene. Think this is also the start when we gather Iron Bull and Black Wall too. So after that, all we'll be missing is Cold and that other weirdo. I don't even remember his goddamn name.
It's good you've returned. We heard of your encounter.
Look at me in these cutscenes. Stunting is a habit, ain't it, motherfucker?
Word ahead, of course.
It's a shame the Templars have abandoned their senses, as well as the capital.
We had to do something, and now we have an opportunity.
Yes, and we have the opening we need to approach the Templars and the mages.
Do we? Lord Seeker Lucius is not the man I remember.
True, he has taken the orders somewhere, but to do what? My reports have been very odd.
We must look into it. I'm certain not everyone in the Order will support the Lord Seeker.
Or the Herald could simply go to meet the mages in Redcliffe instead.
You think the Mage Rebellion is more united? It could be 10 times worse.
Or you could stop bickering and make a decision.
I agree.
We shouldn't discount Redcliffe. The mages may be worth the risk.
They are powerful, Ambassador, but more desperate than you realize.
So it'll be dangerous. I've been in danger since I walked out of the Fade.
If some among the rebel mages were responsible for what happened at the Conclave...
The same could be said about the Templars.
True enough. Right now, I'm not certain we have enough influence to approach the Order safely.
Then the Inquisition needs agents in more places. That's something you can help with.
In the meantime, we should consider other options.
There is one other matter. Several months ago, the Grey Wardens of Ferelden vanished. I sent word to those in Orlais, but they have also disappeared. Ordinarily, I wouldn't even consider the idea they're involved in all this, but the timing is curious. That does sound odd. I agree. The others have disregarded my suspicion, but I cannot ignore it. 2 days ago, my agents in the hinterlands heard news of a Grey Warden by the name of Blackwall. If you have the opportunity, please seek him out. Perhaps he can put my mind at ease. And if he can't? Then there may be more going on than we thought.
See the captain of the Chargers message. I was about to say, I need a fucking rogue to light the torch. I like being a mage or a rogue over being a warrior in any of these Dragon Age games. Because they don't have like a say, a feeling or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're just playing like a rogue or whatever, or a mage, you get some more options than you do with a warrior. Warrior can only be so linear, so straight in.
I have heard rumors of a way to reverse the right of tranquility.
Mistress Lavelle, Do you have a moment?
Hello? Can I help you with something?
I'll speak with you later.
Travel safely. If you find anything, please bring it in.
Did you need something, Ambassador?
Yes. Well, not precisely, but I should like to know if anyone here has treated you unkindly, Herald, for being an elf.
If they have, they've been stealthy.
Good. Please let me know if that changes. If we're to convince the world that Andraste's Herald is an elf, the Inquisition must give you its utmost support. Stories of wild Dalish elves have grown even more outrageous as people learn of you.
How have the rumors gotten worse?
I would prefer not to repeat them.
Give me something.
Stealing children, selling peasants to slavers, burning down villages, using infants for blood magic. Those are the stories about your fellow Dalish. I won't repeat what they've said about you.
Isn't the magic just as much a problem as my ears?
It depends which way the wind is blowing. Magic is meant to serve man, the chant teaches. Close the breach, and we can claim that is why Andraste chose you. Hopefully it will be enough to replace this gossip about the Dalish.
Why not claim the Dalish can steal your breath or turn into dragons while they're at it? Now that I've said that out loud, someone probably has.
Very likely. I will see what the Inquisition can do to contain the slander. It may help if I know more about how you and your clan lived.
The human towns we traded with ate the same food and suffered the same weather we did. The main difference was that they had homes, while we wandered.
That must have been difficult. Still, you must miss your clan.
If I'd stayed, I'd be traveling with the clan for the rest of my days. I wanted my own life.
If I have learned one thing, it's that our lives are never entirely our own. Whether you're with them or not, being the clan of the Herald of Andraste will mark history.
Elves and fame tend to go poorly together.
Anyway, so let's see, what else can we talk about?
As to how they fare
Now,
worries you. Perhaps the Inquisition could lend a hand.
I'm not usually one for all the BS. I'm not usually a crazy feller myself.
Greetings.
But, oh.
How do you and Liliana know each other?
We moved through.
I definitely think that job has changed everything.
I believe we actually met in Val Royaux. Liliana was quite an accomplished player of the game by then.
I can definitely say that now that I've been working at that job,
forgive me.
a lot of people, almost everybody everywhere, that gets so uptight about anything about sexuality, lesbian, gay, straight, transsexual. These people do not actually, they don't,
exactly does your job entail?
They don't see themselves in the light they truly are. They see the light that the society they live in or the world that's around them has put them in. And I don't mean the society as in the whole place. I mean society as...
I do. Someone must foster goodwill on our behalf.
They don't want... A father doesn't want the son to know that... You know what I mean?
How heavily are our actions scrutinized?
Because there's some freaks.
Every noble house, every throne, is waiting to see what the Inquisition does next. Many are willing to pledge support, if...
Like, there's a couple people that will come in.
I intend to see...
Straightest guys you ever think. They have wives, wives, kids, all that stuff. But,
tell me how you came to work for the Inquisition again.
They, like, all those transsexual movies, all those gay, lesbian movies, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And they'll say, oh, they look the same. You can't tell them from a woman. And then you think, okay, so if you can't tell them from a woman, first off, you're fucking lying. Second off,
the prospect of stability that drew you.
These are the same people that would vote against things, propositions, movements, because they're afraid of how it works for their kids.
The
BS.
violence must be curbed before we see it turn to full-scale war.
So I guess, like, I absolutely agree that
if it escalates further.
I'm afraid history holds many
regardless of
examples.
what you do or who you are, your sexual preference, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Whatever the case may be, you just, you gotta be you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some crazy BS.
The miracles Andraste performed were so long ago, they're difficult to picture. If it were truly her...
Ooh, let's talk about the first time I figured out in Sonic 3D Blast that there was a glitch for level select. I didn't know, because I have the Genesis, so I would get angry and I would hit the cartridge. While it's still in the thing sometimes. Depends how frustrating.
We once sent in...
So one time I hit the cartridge for Sonic 3D Blast. And it ended up like going into this little screen where it said, congratulations, you have unlocked the level select for Sonic 3D Blast. And I was able to choose all the levels. I was able to play the last level, the beginning level, the middle levels, all the levels. And that's how I kept doing it. I kept hitting the cartridge. I still have that cartridge today and it still works. And it's one of the coolest things in the frickin' world.
I would never have given up my position if I did not intend to fully...
Like, I didn't think cheat codes were anywhere or going to be a part of anything. Like, I always played my game straight-laced.
If anything, the alliances I forged there may help our current cause.
Do you think the Inquisition will continue after we seal the breach?
If we prove ourselves by healing the breach, people may turn to us for other things. Protection, counsel, justice. The Inquisition offered these once to those in need.
Let's speak later.
Farewell. Greetings.
What do the people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Any thoughts on the people here?
Who did you mean?
What do you think of Vivienne?
We've met a few times before at court. She remains a truly accomplished player of the game. So long as her interests align with yours, Madame Vivienne will be a most valuable ally.
Let's speak later.
Farewell. Speak only the word. Sing only the charm.
You've never been to a circle, as far as I can tell, yet you're remarkably skilled. Were you self-taught?
Not at all. I studied magic with Keeper Deshana.
I have heard about the traditions of magic among the Dalish keepers, but it's all third-hand. In my own experience, nothing is more deadly to a young mage than a lack of knowledge, which makes the current state of things precarious. What do you imagine will happen if the circles are not restored? Do you foresee the Dalish taking us all under their wing?
The war benefits no one. It must end, and order must be restored.
If only the rebels saw things so clearly. Justinia's death has shattered the balance of power in Thedas. If it is not restored quickly, countless lives will be lost. Mages, Templars, innocent people of all kinds now look to the Inquisition to decide their fate.
I'll try not to let them down.
Failure is a luxury we cannot afford, my dear. For almost 1,000 years, the world believed it was in the hands of the Maker. And now many believe you are the agent of his will. Whatever the truth is, that belief gives you power.
If that's true, then I'll put it to good use.
I suppose we'll see. I've stolen enough of your time, my dear. Don't let me keep you. Yes?
Is there anything I can do to help your efforts at restoring the Circle?
After the Circles fell, their libraries were plundered by scavengers. 1,000 years of recorded knowledge in the hands of bandits. It makes me sick to think of it. I've received news that some tomes have been located, if you are interested in righting this wrong.
I'll look into it for you.
If you can take care of this matter, the Circle would be in your debt. Yes?
I'd like to know more about you, Madame Vivienne.
Whatever would you like to know?
Your accent's not Orlesian.
Sorry about it, guys. This is looking like it's gonna be a half talk, half action episode.
Matters there. But if you must know,
That's why I tried to throw in some conversations, some interesting topics,
I
and
was sent
stuff
to
like
the
that
Austwick
that
Circle,
are
where I
gonna
transferred
help
to
you guys.
Monsignor while still an apprentice.
Okay.
I'm curious how a Circle mage winds up a courtier.
Nobody winds up at court, my dear. It takes a great deal of effort to arrive there. I caught the eye of Duke Bastien de Ghislaine, an advantageous connection that opened many doors. When the position of Enchanter to the Imperial Court became vacant, I was able to secure it.
You're married to the Duke de Ghislaine?
Of course not, my dear. Don't be ridiculous. Marriage is the business of alliance and inheritance. I'm Bastien's mistress.
And what does the Duchess de Ghislaine think of this arrangement?
We got along quite well. Duchess Nicoline and I used to host musical salons together. She was a great patron of the arts. She passed away from a fever a few years ago, the poor dear.
What duties does a court enchanter have?
I am tasked with providing assistance to the Empress on arcane matters. Most of my predecessors restricted this to lighting lamps and doing parlor tricks. In such troubled times as these, however, I provide political advice to Her Majesty on the subject of the Mage Rebellion. Yes?
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
If the Circle disbanded, how can you still belong to it?
The Circle is an idea, my dear. And an idea cannot be dissolved. Many of the
I like Vivienne because she was always strong with her convictions. She knows throughout the whole game what to do, what to say, how to play, and what, you know, everything she stands for is.
The rebels follow her, the loyalists follow me.
If you led all the loyalists, why are you only First Enchanter and not Grand Enchanter?
Grand Enchanters are elected, and since there are no First Enchanters besides myself, no vote can be held. I could name myself Grand Enchanter, but the title holds no meaning now. When the circles are restored, that will change.
What was it like to live in a circle?
My dear, your question is the root of all problems with mages. I cannot tell you. Every circle was different. Their Templars were different, their politics unique. And every person within each tower had an experience of circle life unique to themselves. Some people suffered and some were content. Some were cruel, some compassionate, and some indifferent. The same is true of people everywhere, in all circumstances, whether they are mages or not.
That's true.
So tell me about your personal experience with the Circle.
I enjoyed life in the Montsimard Circle, my dear. It was an edifice devoted to knowledge and refinement. And there is comfort to be had, you know, in the company of fellow mages. Those born without magic will never truly understand us.
You must have been under constant supervision, being forced by Templars to live in the tower. Was that hard to endure?
My dear, I have a suite in the palace and a wing at my dear Duke Bastien's estate. I've never been forced to live anywhere. Most circles allowed mages to live away from the tower, either on their own or in service to the nobility. All that was required was permission from the first enchanter. Some circles were harsher in their restrictions. Kirkwall was the worst, but it was the exception. Most were quite permissive. Perhaps too permissive, in retrospect.
How did we come to this state with the circles in revolt?
A failure of perspective that infected circle leadership. Mages lived solely in a world of Templars and mages. They could not even imagine what was beyond the tower walls. Kirkwall gave the world a reason to remember its fear of magic. A mage killed hundreds with a snap of their fingers. Across Thedas, a new tangible fear of magic grew. Commoners and nobles alike called out to the Chantry for protection. But the malcontents in the towers thought nothing of this. They cared only for themselves and for their anger at the new Templar restrictions. When a mage attempted to assassinate Divine Justinia, again, the mages protested the investigation. The leadership chose to vote on independence based on the intolerable conditions imposed by the Templars, sparing no thought to the fact that magic was more feared in the aftermath of these attacks than it had been since Tevinter's day. So long as they had their freedom, they could care little for riots, angry mobs, or about pitting mages against each other.
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people. We would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away? By all means protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By voting when they did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin, but Fiona chose to let the motion stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice. By breaking from the Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels.
Excuse me. I've got a message for the Inquisition, but I'm having a hard time getting anyone to talk to me.
Who are you, soldier?
Cremisius Aclasi with the Bulls Chargers Mercenary Company. We mostly work out of Orlais and Navarra. We've got word of some Tevinter mercenaries gathering out on the Storm Coast. My company commander, Iron Bull, offers the information free of charge. If you'd like to see what the Bulls Chargers can do for the Inquisition, meet us there and watch us work.
What can your Bull's Chargers offer the Inquisition?
We're loyal, we're tough, and we don't break contracts. Ask around Val Royeaux. We've got references.
What should I know about your commander?
Iron Bull. He's one of those Kunari, the big guys with the horns. He leads from the front. He pays well, and he's a lot smarter than the last bastard I worked for. Best of all, he's professional. We accept contracts with whoever makes the first real offer. You're the first time he's gone out of his way to pick a side.
Why did your commander send us this information?
Iron Bull wants to work for the Inquisition. He thinks you're doing good work.
I look forward to meeting this Iron Bull.
We're the best you'll find. Come to the Storm Coast and you can see us in action.
There you go. So far so good. We've gotten crap out of the way. The only one left to talk to is Cassandra. And I might as well do it now. I will shoot another episode. So I'll probably do 2 episodes. One to
Yes?
I'll do one now, the one I'm doing, and one tonight.
I'd like to get to know you
Because
better.
Cassandra's is just as long as anybody else's.
Is that a problem? Not entirely. I'm just curious as to your motivation.
No motivation beyond making things between us less...
Antagonistic?
Exactly.
As you wish. My name is Cassandra Pentecost, daughter of the Royal House of Navarra, 78th in line for the Navarran throne. I joined the Seekers of Truth as a young woman, and was with the Order until they withdrew from the Chantry. I remained as the Divine's right hand, carrying out her order to form the Inquisition. And here we are. That's all there is to know, my lady.
You're a member of Navarra's royal family.
The Pentecosts are a very large clan. Half of Cumberland could say the same.
Really?
No, but it feels that way. I have hundreds of relatives so distant they need charts to prove we're related at all. And they have them.
Jesus
oh yes.
Christ.
The Pentecost.
There's so much
value their
dialogue,
precious
guys.
Blood like it runs with gold.
So not on very good terms with your family, then?
I do not visit.
The important part is you have
The
Iron Bull,
Pentecosts are
Cole,
famed for dragon
and
hunting,
Blackwall left
but few actually.
to hear dialogue from.
Most of
And there's
fat
always
ladies.
some dialogue
They
going
pay
on
lip
in the
service
games,
to the
guys. So
maker
that's
and
what
care
it's
only
going to
for
be.
idle
The LP
pleasures and
isn't
past
as straight-laced as I'd
My
like.
brother was all that
But
kept
when
me
we
in
get into
Navarre.
sections where it's
Once
all
he was
action,
gone,
we'll definitely
so
all
was I.
be happy.
So you are the right hand to the Divine?
To Divine Justinia, yes. And Divine Beatrix before her, in fact. The position is normally reserved for Templars of the Knights Divine, but my circumstances were unusual.
Unusual how?
You don't know the story? Thank the Maker. I will tell you if you wish, but it isn't as exciting as some drum it up to be.
There comes a shameless
The short
plug.
version is that I
Everybody
once
buy
saved
Dragon
the
Age,
previous Divine's life.
Dawn of the
My
Seeker,
reward was becoming her right hand.
and you can definitely see the whole video or movie about Cassandra's back.
But what does a right hand do, exactly?
What is your hand capable?
Masturbate.
It gives, it takes, it beckons. It makes a fist. Liliana and I extended the Divine's reach beyond the Grand
Jerks it off. Forgot that.
We went where she could not. After Beatrix, I was tired of the position and wanted to return to the Seekers. But Justinia convinced me to stay. Her vision for the future gave me hope.
You thought she could really change things?
Justinia knew the war was coming long before it began. She tried to avert it, but the forces arrayed against her were too strong. Sometimes you have to break a bone so it can be reset. That's where the Inquisition comes in. It was to be the answer. A means to preserve as well as an agent for change. I only wish she had lived to see it.
So, what's the story about you becoming the right hand?
Sweet Andraste, do you really want to hear that? It was, what, 18, 20 years ago? Some still discuss it like it happened yesterday. The tale gets
Cassandra,
bigger
old as
each
shit,
time
ain't
it's
she?
told. I barely recognize
Old
myself
bitch.
within it now.
That's what happens with stories that become legends.
I am not a legend, nor was I then. I was a young woman barely out of training. To hear others tell it, I alone saved Divine Beatrix from a horde of dragons sent to assault the Grand Cathedral. Rather impressive for such a young seeker, wouldn't you say?
And the truth is?
I stumbled upon a conspiracy to kill Beatrix. A Templar Knight Commander was at its heart. And there was a dragon battle at the Grand Cathedral. But I had help from loyal mages who rallied to the cause. They freed the dragons from magical control. Without them, the Divine and I would both have died. Yet I became the right hand, and they are forgotten.
What happened to the mages that helped you?
They went back to their circles, with rewards and privileges and Most Holy's gratitude. Many of them died at the conclave.
I think you're a hero, no matter how you downplay it.
Fine. But it was 20 years ago. I will not rest upon my laurels.
Tell me about your brother.
I would prefer not to speak of Anthony. Another time, perhaps.
You don't seem to like your homeland much.
My family polluted it for me. What little I saw of my homeland was through the bars of a gilded cage. My uncle treated me like a porcelain doll to be placed on a shelf and dusted only when necessary. Thus, I did not see Navarra, the real Navarra, until much later. By then, I realized I knew it not at all.
Your uncle? What about your parents?
They had for mission of fortune the takings wrong in the side and the The king executed them, but spared my brother and I since we were family, and children at the time. Thus we were raised by my uncle, a mortalitasi who preferred the company of his corpses to the living.
Your uncle was a mortalitasi?
A death mage. He still is. My countrymen do not burn the dead, they bury them in special crypts. The mortalitasi supervise the crypts, like priests. Uncle Vestalis oversees the grand necropolis. Nevarans spend more time honoring dead relatives than they do with living ones. It is odd to be so fascinated with death and its trappings. I will never understand it.
I'll let you get back to work.
That's it.
Greetings.
Oh no, it's not.
Can you tell me more about the Seekers?
The Seekers of Truth were born from the original Inquisition long ago, when it united with the Chantry. Seekers stood above the Templars, watching over them but also investigating magical events they couldn't handle. We were meant to be incorruptible, above reproach. How seldom does reality match the ideal?
But what are Seekers exactly?
Those who know anything of us think we are Templars. We do not use lyrium, however. Our abilities are different, as was our original purpose. We disciplined the Templars and were accountable only to the Divine, and not even her, truthfully.
So nobody ever watched over the Seekers?
It was the Divine's duty, but she could only do so much when the truth was hidden from her. The Templars have always feared us. When a Seeker arrived at a circle, they knew trouble was afoot. That kind of power is troubling. You begin to think you are the only one who can solve the world's problems. If you don't see a problem, it doesn't exist. If someone insists it does, they are the blind ones.
Do you think that kind of problem could ever be fixed?
Possibly. Though the Seekers themselves would need to change. They were clearly not willing.
Alright, what other story can we talk about here?
In my heart, I believe they can still be salvaged. But
ooh, I can talk about all those PSU days. We used to play a game on Xbox 360 called Phantasy Star Universe with a couple friends. It was one of the coolest fucking experiences online. It was very simple, very easy to get into, very fun to sit and bullshit.
Useful considering our
so we had one thing where we got in an argument with this guy. Now you know guys, when you play any type of MMO or RPG or whatever, you're always talking about what's the best weapon, what's the best stuff to get. And at the time was the rattlesnake. Alright, now we were at one of the places waiting outside, shooting the shit, trying to find a rare map. And this guy walked up.
Why did your order turn against
And we were talking shit to him. Talking about, oh, well, you know. He's like, oh, I've got max money and you guys don't have anything and your weapons aren't good, your armor's not good. And it was awesome, obviously.
Thus breaking the
He was just being a salty hater.
Seekers saw themselves as
A little sassy Sally.
and they led the Templars into a war
So
of righteousness.
we baited him into actually
we
were like, oh, you won't go buy a 10 out of 10 rattlesnake right now. Of course I knew, and everybody in my group knew, they're not going to put a 10 out of 10 fucking rattlesnake. Which means it's been grinded up and it has max stats or whatever. He's like, I will go buy it. I'll go buy it. Da, da, da. So he leaves and goes and buys something. He comes back and
You're right.
he comes back and he's like, I wasn't able to get a 10 out of 10. I was able to get a 9 out of 9. So we busted out laughing at him. Because he was talking all this shit, but he couldn't get what he was talking about. And if you can't get what you're talking about, you're useless.
Predictable. It was difficult to watch.
We used to sit around because you could look at people's like player cards and stuff and weapons.
I was much older.
And
due to my
you used to be able to sit there and just crack up because you'd be like, ugh, 2 out of 2, kill yourself. Ugh, 5 out of 5, you and your mama die. You know, stupid shit.
Is the vigil some kind of initiation?
It is the rite every seeker must go through in order to summon their gifts. A full year of fasting, prayer, and separation from all distractions, including other people. We empty ourselves of all emotions.
I hope that they make another game like that for the Xbox One besides Neverwinter Night. I would like to see Sega get off their lazy fucking ass
Put it into words.
and make a nice PSU or PSO2 or 3 for the Xbox One.
Was it some kind of magic?
I don't fully understand it, to be honest. If the vigil was not so arduous, I'd say more should attempt it. What if mages never needed to fear possession by demons? I'm told it is impossible, however. I suppose I'll never know the truth of it now.
I've no more questions.
I don't think there's anything
Greetings.
she has to talk about except the chantry.
May I ask you about the chantry?
I have no better answers on the topic than anyone might, but I'll tell you what I can.
Do you really believe the chantry is worth preserving?
I do. Though I understand...
The reason all of these questions and everything like that are very important is because later on, when they choose a divine, you have your choices of who to support. And trust me, you'll know who you want to support by then. Especially if you keep doing the dialogue and talking to people, guys. I'm just going over there talking. Normally I wouldn't, but if it's an all-talking episode, I'm trying my best to make sure you guys aren't falling asleep, aren't fucking bored, aren't completely ready to change your channel and lose, you know, interest in watching me play this LP, because I truly love this game.
We must do so with open hearts and open hands.
That sounds rather idealistic of you.
Does it? I do not think it's so unachievable. The Chantry has many good, honest people. They just need direction and inspiration. They need to be freed from centuries of adherence to tradition and ceremony. A chance for renewal is at our fingertips. It does not have to come with utter chaos.
Will the Chantry replace Divine Justinia?
They will try. Once the priests withdraw for the Grand Consensus, it is against Chantry law for them to emerge without naming a new divine. Sometimes it takes days, or weeks, or even months. The problem now is that no clear successor to Justinia exists. All worthy clerics died with her at the Conclave.
So what happens if they can't agree on someone?
Theoretically, they will argue until exhaustion takes them or they see reason. Practically, however, if the Grand Consensus goes on too long, the Chantry will crumble. Any cleric with ambition but little sense will see this as her one chance, and plenty of such clerics exist. We shall see what happens. The Inquisition must act in the meantime.
If they do choose a new divine, will you serve her?
That depends on whether she would have me. I am a rebel now, remember? And even if she would, I do not know. It would depend on what type of divine she is. I am no longer in a position to follow blindly, and no new divine could expect such obedience now.
I'm surprised you rebelled against the Chantry.
I left my own order when they took the wrong path. It is no different. But in neither case did I stop caring. Indeed, I care so much that I feel drastic action is necessary. I suppose history shall one day judge my actions.
Thank you.
Alright, guys.
Though you had granted them power over the very thing.
Oops. Right into a wall.
Too many wounded, and not enough bandages to go around.
Oh shit.
Would that I could.
Of course.
Ready for waiting.
I was wondering if you could look at some locks for me.
What, the doors under the chantry?
You know about them.
Places have doors. I just wasn't interested in poking through some sister's breeches. Whatever floats you. Consider them open, yeah?
There we go. So we'll grab those, and then the next episode we are heading out, and I think we're gonna try and kill a giant. So get hyped, bitches. Don't get too hyped for this. I tried to give you guys some stories that'll make you at least want to stay. Alright. Alright, guys. Well, next time. And enjoy this scary faced elf. Deuces, guys.